Hi everyone, so some of you may be wondering, should you pull for Nydia? She's an up-and-coming unit. So I already have a guide on Nydia. Not going to go into too much detail about it, but we'll just take a look at Nydia and I'll give my thoughts on what I think about Nydia and why I would pull for her or not. So Nydia is a Seeker unit and she's going to be part of the Union faction, which is really getting some cool units in the future as well. She's going to work well with her sister. So she's going to provide those black feathers that she applies to the enemies and that synergizes with her sister. I don't think they absolutely need each other, but they do benefit one another. Also alacrity. And then she's like a Seeker, but she doesn't have the greatest movement. It's only 3. Which is not really an issue. I haven't really found this as an issue for Nydia because she gets increases to her movement in her skills and in her also in her range can get upgraded at 3 stars. So if we just take a look at Nydia's trait. Now, so physical damage that she does is considered as magical damage. At the start of the battle, she gains Armor of Ice for 3 turns during the character's current turn. When basic attack hits target with Black Feather, she triggers the Black Feathers, consumes the Black Feather from the basic attack target after attacking. Active basic attack inflicts 1 Frostbite. So she's all about basic attacks, it's all she does basically. But those basic attacks are enhanced when she triggers this Black Feather. So what is this Black Feather thing? So during Nydia's current turn, triggers 1000 Black Feathers when hit by her basic attack, consumes Black Feather after targeting. So 1000 Black Feathers effect. When triggered, Nydia attacks the target with basic attack, the skill multiplier is reduced to 10%. So let me just go back there again. So Black Feather is, she applies the Black Feather to targets, to enemies in a number of ways. And when she hits an enemy that has that Black Feather with a basic attack, it's going to trigger additional effects on that enemy. It's also going to consume the Black Feather on that enemy, so once she's hit a target, the Black Feather will be removed until she applies another Black Feather. So when triggered, Nydia attacks the target with basic attack, the skill multiplier is reduced to 10%. So she reduces her damage, I think, by 10%. Then she triggers 1000 Black Feathers, and this is an effect which deals 80% AoE damage to all enemies within 2 tiles of the enemy. So that one enemy she targets with a single basic attack is going to get hit with the attack, but also the enemies around within 2 tiles of that enemy are going to take AoE damage. So even though it's a basic attack, she's doing technically AoE damage. And that's all because this Black Feathers is enhancing her basic attack. So it's not just a basic attack, technically. In one of Nydia's attacks, a single target can receive up to 4000 Black Feathers attacks, with the skill multiplier of the last 3 hits reduced to 15%. So again, it's one basic attack, but because of the Black Feathers, it's going to be like turn into AoE damage, but also she hits that single enemy that she's targeting like up to 4 times. Although there's a reduction in the damage by 15%, it's still a lot of damage. Plus she's applying Frostbite. Life loss at the end of the turn, lose HP equal to 50% of the sum of Nydia's physical attack and magic attack. That's quite a high amount. She does a lot of DOT damage, but I think it's only to one enemy. But 50% of physical attack and magic attack is a really high number. Plus we do get the Hangman's Tarot, which is going to increase DOT damage. That's an option as well. But she has a high physical attack and she has decent magic attack too as well. Right, and then let's just check how she ranks up. Okay, so we've gone over the trait. She gets the nice ice shield And then she triggers Black Feather. When she hits an enemy with Black Feather, she triggers the 1000 Black Feather effect, which is going to do all those AoE and then up to 4 attacks on a single target. And the Frostbite, we've covered that. And then also, at 1 star, she adds 10% of a magic attack to a physical attack. At the start of the turn, inflicts Black Feather on the 2 closest enemies without Black Feather within 4 tiles of Nydia. So that's how she applies the Black Feather. Just at the beginning of a turn, which is great. So the first attack she does can already be on enemies with the Black Feather, and she's already doing those effects. Rank 2, she's going to inflict Black Feather on 2 enemies within 5 tiles instead of 4 tiles. Not a big jump at rank 2, but at rank 3 is really where she comes online. 20% of magic attack to physical attack, and the 1000 Black Feathers damage is increased by 10%. Plus, the max range of her basic attack is increased by 1 tile. So that's why I said she doesn't really need to have too much movement, because her range increases at rank 3. At the start of the turn, inflicts Black Feather on 3, not 2, 3 enemies without Black Feather. So she's really applying that Black Feather easily to enemies. And that will also help her sister, because her sister can do... I think that's a sister, can do additional, really tear through enemies that have that Black Feather and stuff. So I've gone for up to rank 3 and I've stopped there. I think that's enough for her because she gets that extra range, which is massive for her. So basically the reason that extra 1 tile of range is so good for her is because if she just hits 1 enemy, she can target a chain reaction on all other enemies. So usually you just need that 1 tile to reach the first enemy on your first turn, and then she blows everything up. So that's why that extra tile is massive for her as well. And then at rank 4, if you want to go this far, the 1000 Black Feathers damage is increased by 20%. That's the only increase I'm seeing there. And then rank 5, 30% of magic attack to physical attack, and then that 1000 Black Feathers damage is increased by 30%. Plus the max range is increased by 2 tiles, even more range, so she can start being a sniper here. Then she applies Black Feather on 4, not 3, but 4 enemies within 6 tiles of her. Plus, when using a basic attack, she recovers 1 energy. I don't think energy is a problem at any time for Nydia. She always has lots of energy because she has skills that can steal all the enemy's energy, or a group of enemies' energy, and reduce all class skill cooldowns by 1 turn. So a big jump here. It's just that I don't know if it's worth to invest to 5 stars for Nydia unless you really like her or you have no other options. It's just that there are even better units in those tier 0 kind of units that you may want to push to 5 stars instead, because there's limited slots. So maybe you want to pull the Inanna SB to 5 stars instead of her. But already at 3 stars, she's still a beast, and she's just chain reactioning everyone. And so let me just go over her skills again quickly. So I have gone over these in my guide, so I'm not going to go over it too much, but basically she just, okay, this is my preference. So basically I've just gone for all the skills on the right. I think that's the best build for her. The skills on the left is if you want to go down the Frostbite category, which may work. If you want to go for a DOT build on Nydia and use like the Hangman's Tarot, which will come out later, to increase DOT damage, I think it could be an option. But for me, this is the way I like to build Nydia. The first skill she comes with though, let's first check that one. So she comes with this like, I think this is her initial skill. It's an instant support skill. She gains Cloud of Black Feathers. It's an effect, consume 1 energy when channeling, So Channel is a type skill. When activated at the start of the turn, deducts the required channel cost and forcibly channeling if the cost cannot be met. After casting, the skill switches to cancel corresponding skill. So basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's just basically to switch between two states in her. But correct me if I'm wrong, I'd like to understand this even better. So you can switch this on, it's an instant, and then it increases your effect range by 1 tile. So she increases that range. During a basic attack, forcibly triggers 1000 black feathers 1 additional time. So she can do even more multiple attacks on an enemy if she just activates this instant and she goes into this state. It's also going to give her like, I think it gives her like that 1 extra tile movement where she can make another movement. Basically, it's a nice way to allow her to go into this different state. But there is another way she can do this. So this is an initial skill. She can also do this at rank 11 as well. She can go into this state. We'll check that in the skills later. But if you're playing and you don't have a level 60 Nydia, then this is a good skill to carry on her. Just to allow her to do that additional attack and to get that extra tile where she can reposition herself 1 extra movement. And yeah, it's just 1 energy cost, 1 turn cooldown. So let's take a look at her skills. So on the left side, there's this Knight's Glory. We know about this. It's not that great. So the skill on the right is nice, especially if you're before level 60. Physical attack increase by 8% before attacking. Dispel 1 defensive attribute. I mean, you could run that. If you wanted to go for the HP, like, I wouldn't blame you. If for some reason you wanted the HP, and because you're not going to run either of these skills in a skill slot. But whichever one you want to choose. Then on the left she has this Frost Trap, which will stop the enemy, interrupt the enemy, and do 10% of their HPS damage. And then also apply a do piercing damage, sorry, equal to 10% HP. And you get the defense up there. But the one on the right is what I went for. Passive when unharmed state, increase crit by 20% and crit damage by 10%. This is a nice skill I used on her before I reached level 60. This one I would run on her before level 60. And then at rank 5 on the left side. So the left side is like the Frost DOT type of build. So this is the Winter Protection reaction. When attacking enemies with move down or speed down, gain armor of ice for 2 turns. Can be triggered up to 1 time per turn. When actively attacked by enemies with move down or speed down, reduces damage taken by 30%. So this is how she can have more defense. The defensive build, if you want to go for that. I don't really like to have Nydia taking too much damage anyway, because she can snipe with her range. And on the right, you can reduce AoE damage taken by 40%. While under any channeling, they refer to it as channeling or the maintenance state, movement is increased by 1 tile. So this is why I went for this one, because when she goes into that other state, then you get an extra 1 movement. And this, the 1 movement makes all the difference in the world. On your first turn, you can move that extra tile to reach the first enemy, and then do a chain reaction on all other enemies around that enemy as well. So this is what gives her more mobility. It just upgrades her channeling state. So the initial skill that she comes with will benefit from this. You can also reduce AoE damage by 40%. But just for this extra tile is why I chose it. Also attack +3. Okay, that's on both anyway. But yeah, that's to help her when she goes into that channeling state. But I'll show you another way you can get into the channeling state. You don't have to use her initial skill to go into that state. Rank 7 on the left side, Deathbird's Eye. Funny name. Passive. When 1000 black feathers triggers, additionally inflicts frostbite and move down 1. That's not too great. 1 time for 1 turn, can be activated up to 1 time per target per round. I mean, it's not bad. It's just that the one on the right is her signature, I think. But yeah, this is the Frostbite DOT route. So the death sentence support instant inflicts black feather on all enemies within 3 tiles of the target for 2 turns and steals 1 energy and 2 buffs from the target. Or I think that should be plural, targets. After casting the skill, the character gains damage up to Armor of Ice and Death Sentence. All effects last for 2 turns. What is Death Sentence? When active, doubles the number of enemies that can be inflicted with Black Feather in trait. After an active basic attack, performs additional basic attack on 2 farthest targets with Black Feather within the basic attack range with its skill multiplier reduced to 10%. So yeah, you're getting a lot out of this skill. This is the one you definitely want to run in your skill slot. So she applies Black Feather to enemies through a trait at the beginning of a turn, but this is another way she can apply Black Feathers, and it's a very generous range. So you can get almost all enemies, like a whole group or 2 of enemies with this thing. And then that doesn't just apply Black Feathers, which is going to make her vulnerable to her basic attacks. Make them vulnerable to her basic attacks. It's also going to steal 1 energy from them, so they can't even use their skills, some of their good skills. A whole group of enemies. And then that, she takes 1 energy from each enemy, so she's up to max energy. Easily, just like that. And takes 2 buffs from them, she gets damage up 2, she gets an Armor of Ice. And then the Death Sentence, which is going to give you even more benefits. So yeah, that's the must-have skill. On rank 9, on the left side, basic attack, single target attack, deals a curved shot, inflicts move down 1, not great, speed down 1, not great. I mean, it's not bad, it's just, if it was move down 2 or 3, that would be something. So it is a curved shot with a nice height range. But definitely the one on the right is what I would 100% go for. Basic attack, single target attack, deals 85%, also curved shot. After active attack, knocks back the first other enemy in a cross-range shape of 3 tiles around the target by 1 tile away from the target. It's not worded easily to understand. It's not a knockback, it's more of a pull in. So this is why she's kind of like a black hole effect that she does. So she'll hit the 1 enemy in the middle, and the other enemies that are like around that enemy will get sucked in towards that enemy. So they'll be grouped up together, making them take even more AoE damage, because she does AoE damage when she hits an enemy with Black Feathers. So this is a must-have, because her basic attack is her only attack. So this thing allowing her to do crowd control and, you know, reposition the enemy, it's a nightmare for the enemy. So if you can reach that first enemy on a first turn, like I said, you hit that enemy and then he sucks all his friends next to him, and then they all just take damage together. This is the one I went for. At rank 11, on the left side, a support instant gains Breath of Winter, consumes 2 energy when channeling. So you have to, it costs 2 energy, and then you go into that channel state when casting or triggering skills. It inflicts 1 frostbite on the enemy for 1 turn. If the character has shield, physical shield, and the target is affected by move down, then inflict another stack of frostbite. Each frostbite infliction can affect 1 target per turn. So again, frostbite route if you want to go for that. I did go for the one on the right here. This is my preference. So it's a support again, an instant. You gain Rain of Arrows. Effect, consume 2 energy when channeling. So as far as I'm understanding, there's 3 ways she can go into her channeling state or her maintenance state. It's the first initial skill she comes with. It's this one on the left, and it's this one. This is what I used to go into that channeling effect with her, and it costs 2 energy. You go into the channeling state. Increases magic attack to physical attack contribution ratio by half in trait. So the amount of magic attack she converts to physical attack is going to increase by that half ratio. Excuse me. After an active basic attack, performs an additional basic attack on the closest target within the basic attack range, with its multiplier reduced to 10%. So this is causing mayhem, because now that single basic target attack that she's doing is now going to attack another unit, and because of the black feathers it's going to do AoE damage. It's going to attack the enemy, the one enemy she's attacking multiple times, and it's just causing a massive chain reaction damage to all enemies all over the place. And it's not just the enemies within a group that she's targeting, it can also be enemies that are not in that group around her. She'll fire a random arrow at somebody else. So I love this skill, and this is the skill that I use to help her go into that maintenance channeling effect. When channel skill, when activated at the start of the turn, frog in my throat. At the start of the turn, deducts the required channeling cost. So I think that refers to the 2 energy it costs, and forcibly cancels the channeling if the cost of it. After casting the skill, switches to so when she goes into this channeling state, then because of this reaction skill, she gets that extra movement as well. So that's a way to get into the channeling state. Yeah. So the skills that I run on her, and I've run this non-stop. I haven't changed the skills. I don't see a better build. I think there's only one optimal build for her, but I could be wrong. There could be multiple builds for her as well. So I run the passive when unharmed. When in an unharmed state, increase crit by 20%, crit damage by 10%. So that's just a passive I run on her. There's another passive, but it's not as good. And then the only other skill I have is the initial skill where she can go into channeling. And this one is going to consume 1 energy, go into channeling state. The effect range is increased by 1 tile. During basic attack, forcibly triggers black feathers 1 additional time. You know, I may actually run this skill. I may actually give this one a test instead of this passive. But it may be overlapping some of the effects. It may be redundant because she does go into the channeling state anyway. But I'll give it a test. I'll see what that does. But the 2 skills that she must be having on her is going to be her ultimate skill, the death sentence skill, and this one is going to apply more black feathers to enemies and all those good effects. And then the rain of arrows is going to help her go into the channeling state, increase the amount of magic attack she does to a physical attack, and then perform an additional basic attack on the enemies. So this is the build I run for her. For liberation skills, which will be coming out soon. Not much going on here, is there? HP is increased by 10% and piercing damage taken is reduced by 10%. Yeah, it's not bad. And then for her weapon, Longbow of Martyrs, increased physical attack by 8% after, this is 4 stars, after single target active attack. So she does only single target attacks anyway. Deals damage. You inflict Longbow of Martyrs for 1 turn. So it's going to increase damage taken by 10%. So you're inflicting vulnerability 1. She's doing a lot of single target attacks as well. And then I'm running the True Lens because I don't have anything better really. Increased physical attack. When attacking from Highland, crit increases by 18%. Synergizes nicely with this skill, which increases crit damage as well. So if you can get her on high ground, that would be nice. I guess the Hourglass would be good as well. It can be a little rare to have lots of copies of the Hourglass. Or anything that increases her attack as well could work. I'm basically doing a whole guide here. I was just gonna briefly go over this. And then I'm running the Verdict of Justice to increase the crit damage and the crit chance on her. But yeah, I don't know if it makes sense to go for the increase in damage over time, because she only does damage over time to one enemy per time. Otherwise, I think Justice is the best way. I cannot see an alternative to Nydia. And then she does like to move and attack, reposition herself to fire off her arrows, so I've gone for the sword and wand engraving for her over there. Now, whether or not to pull for Nydia, let's see. I think you can't go wrong with Nydia. I wouldn't say she's a must pull, like I wouldn't say you want to go to Pity for Nydia. I think she's a solid unit to pull on, like 50 pulls maybe. Try your luck. If you miss her, it's fine. There are going to be even stronger units down the line. But she does some, I mean, it's difficult to say stronger units because there's certain things she does better than anyone else. Like the way she just clears a map, like I've said in my guide video, she's just going to like chain reaction, explode everything. It's very satisfying kind of damage. So I don't think you can go wrong with Nydia. She'll help you with lots of content and things. I have quite a strong team and I still run Nydia in my auto team. Like I'll run her with Inanna, Estra, Samantha, and then maybe Kavare. I still haven't figured out how her sister plays, but I may replace, I may play her with her sister in the team as well. So even in my team, she's like really, really good. I'm not saying she's like tier 0, but like I still don't see a better unit to be running on her. So for that reason, I think great unit to pull for, but even if you miss her, it's not the end of the world. Like I think this is a unit you don't want to miss. This is the kind of unit you don't want to miss. That's just as far as I know. If you guys also have any thoughts, share it with the community. But she's just so great for just making your life easier on auto, clearing the map for you. She doesn't just kill mobs, she kills stronger units as well because of the way her attacks work. She's depleting energy from the enemy, which gives you a tactical advantage in battle. And she's also doing some crowd control. Yeah, just a really cool unit, satisfying unit. You won't be unhappy if you pull on Nydia's banner. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the two builds, and I've actually switched around my build. I think the better build is going to be to remove this when unharmed state, increase crit by 20%, crit damage by 10%. Because it is conditional, she needs to be unharmed. And I'm gonna replace it for her initial skill instead. And this will allow her to go into the Cloud of Feathers state. And I'll just show you why I've given her this one. Okay, so yeah, she mocks with the trait 3 enemies there because she's rank 3 with Black Feather. So if she attacks them, they'll take the additional effects. But what I'm doing here is I'm gonna first use her initial skill. And this will allow her to gain Cloud of Black Feathers. It's an instant. It costs 1 energy. So she's down to 2 energy now. Now on Nydia, if we look at it, Nydia, she now has Cloud of Black Feathers. We consume 1 energy and allows her to go to Black Feathers. And then it's going to increase 1000 Black Feathers effect range by 1 tile. During basic attack, forcibly triggers Black Feathers 1 additional time. So she'll do 1 additional explosion on the enemies. That's why I'm going to choose this one for that additional explosion. And then I'm going to make her go into another state, another channeling state. I'll give her the Rain of Arrows channeling state. But this one costs 2 energy, so it's going to use all of her energy up. Another instant. And it's increased her range because of her reaction skill. She can move even further now. That's why I like that reaction skill I spoke about. But now she has Cloud of Black Feathers, but she also has Rain of Arrows, which allows her to go into this channeling state, which is going to increase the magic attack to physical attack ratio and perform an additional basic attack. So now she's doing more basic attacks, and her 1000 Black Feathers explosions are gonna trigger additional times. That's why I'm gonna run both of these skills instead. She's down to no energy, but that's no problem, because we can use her ultimate to steal energy from these enemies. So she'll take one from each of these enemies. These three are already marked with Black Feathers because of a trait. Those two at the back are not, but we can mark them as well. So you see, it's easy to mark these enemies. Inflicts Black Feather on enemies, steals 1 energy, buffs, gain damage up to, sentence of death sentence, armor ice. All those good things here. Now everybody has Black Feathers, which basically means, yeah, everyone's gonna get hit here. So, now, let's just slow this down. Also, you can see her basic attack I've given her will suck in enemies towards the enemy that I'm targeting. So if I hit her, this guy over here will be sucked towards her. If I hit this guy, she will be sucked towards him. So let's hit this guy over here. He'll suck her in there. It's additional time. And there's like multiple explosions going off because of that initial skill. She gets the additional damage that she does there. Yeah, that unit took the life loss. It's not that much, it's just one unit that took the life loss. But so yeah, that's how I think is a better way to play her. Now they've all been marked with Black Feathers, she can just go about and do her business. You can even hit that guy, bring him in closer. And everything just explodes like that. So even though if I use both of those, even if we use both of these channeling skills and she goes down to 0 energy, she's out to 0 energy. She really has no energy problems with her ultimate skill. She just stole 4 energy from the enemy. Yeah, she stole 4 energy. She's back to 4 energy. So yeah, no need to run energy recovery stuff on her. So yeah, that's Nydia, and I'm gonna switch my skill set to that one. I ran the one with the crit damage and things, but this one I think is even better for her. Maybe the other one is better for auto. I haven't tested this on auto yet. Because I don't think she will activate both of her channeling instant channels herself on auto. Goes into one state. Okay, she does on auto. She's very clever AI, Nydia. Very intelligent. She did it herself. She even repositioned in a more safer position than I did. So yeah, you can run that on auto as well then. So I think that's the better build. That's so satisfying, you see. Give you an idea of Nydia's strengths. This is just an estimation. So if we take a look at DPS, I've given her an 8 out of 10. You could argue for a 9. She's doing tons and tons of damage to the enemy. Definitely could argue for a 9 there. But I think a solid 8 is not bad too. AoE as well at 8 there. You could argue for a 9 there as well. It's just the benchmark is going so high with units like Samantha SP and even Misa SP. And also because there are sort of conditions to make her do AoE damage in the first place. There has to be Black Feathers. And the more enemies that have Black Feathers, the better her AoE damage is. So I'll give us another solid 8 there. For support, I don't think she has any support in her kit. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she does kind of support her sister with the Black Feathers. So that's why I've given her 4 just for that. Debuffs as well. It's not the most aggressive debuffer, but she's applying the Black Feathers to everyone. Also some penalties to enemies and things like that. The Frost, if you want to go for that as well. is also going to be considered a debuff. That's why I just gave her 6 there. 6 for tankiness as well. Because of the ice shields that she gets, she can be a little bit tanky as well. Not that squishy, so even as a ranged unit, she doesn't mind getting in the thick of things. For speed, I've given her a 6. She's just average in speed. And then for movement, I've given her a 6. Even though she only has 3 movement, she does get extra movement through her reaction skill, which combines with her channeling effect, allowing her to reposition, which is very important for her. Range, I've given her a 7. You could argue for an 8 here as well. But range increases at rank 3, and so she doesn't really have a problem with range. Even at rank 5, range is increased to additionally. So yeah, I should actually give her a range 8 score here, I think. And then for auto, I've given her a 9. She's very clever AI, and she autos so well. And it allows you to just relax and as she clears the map for you. And also then we go to team player. Not that much of a team player. I just gave her 6 because she's a team player with her sister, Isarind. And then at at resource investment, 6. Not that desperate for resources. I mean, she does have astral gear. I haven't really checked that out too much, but rank 3 is enough for her if you want to go to rank 5, but rank 3 is all she's really asking for, and then she's quite online, quite happy there. And then for difficulty, she's a little bit difficult to understand, but I mean, once you get her, then there's not much difficulty in actually playing her. So for difficulty, just a 7 there. Whether to pull or not, another 7 there. I wouldn't say it's like 10 out of 10 you have to pull for Nydia, but I don't think you can go wrong if you do pull for Nydia. I wouldn't recommend going to Pity for a unit like this, but definitely a unit that will benefit your team. She's also going to benefit from, I think, from Camelot, who will come out and have a Union aura. So yeah, she combines well with the Union units like Camelot and her sister Isarind. Future proof, I think she's solid 7. I've been happy with Nydia for long now, playing this unit. And yeah, that's my thoughts on Nydia's strengths.